Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Last video I did the introduction on my Gen 4 Glock 30. That this has been laser stippled by Fragout Design / Fragout Firearms. This video I'm going to start the teardown of the firearm. Similar to what I've done in other series, I'm going to do a teardown of all of the bits and pieces, starting with the lower, and then I'll do the slide as well. Go through, remove everything. Walk through polishing, cleaning, making everything fit perfectly, just like a light tune-up on it, just to help in the operation and function of the firearm. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start walking through the disassembly. First thing, obviously, drop your magazine, make sure that chamber is clear, nothing in there, and then we will go ahead and get the slide removed. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up to do that. All right, so went ahead, got the slide or release back in position, and did pull the trigger. Once I cleared it, made sure nothing was in the chamber. So we're ready to go and remove the slide at this point in time. One thing I do want to mention is before I started doing this, I did load one magazine, and these are 10-round magazines, with some dummy rounds, as you can see there. I was only able to get 9 in there using the Glock tool that comes with it to help load the mags. I'm guessing these mags just need to be broken in, but yeah, it did not want to take the 10th round, so I will have to just mess around with cycling those a few times. But I did do that and just ran the 9 rounds I got through here just to kind of get a feel with how everything functioned, the trigger feel, the action, everything like that. So I kind of know what to expect going into doing the polishing and cleanup work. So that being said, this is standard, just like any other Glock. To take it apart, you're just gonna pull the slide back ever so slightly, and then use your other hand and pull down on the takedown on both sides, and then just let the slide go forward. Obviously, need 2 hands to do that, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that done real quick. All right, pretty straightforward. Everything is separated. And I will say that the takedown on this is very flush with the frame. I am thinking I'm going to be in the market for an extended one. I'll just make life easier in the future. But yeah, it's very difficult. It's pretty recessed, and you have to kind of dig in there. And I don't have the best of fingernails or fingertips to get a good grip on it. So that is something that is going to be on my list. So next to do is start popping pins. There's 3 pins to take everything apart. So I'm going to go ahead and get those pins removed, and then I can start removing fire control bits and pieces. All right, as you see, 3 pins removed. You have the short, small diameter one. That is going to be the rear pin. The large diameter is your trigger pin, and that one you're probably going to have to put a little effort into. I used the Glock tool here for removing the pins, and then I also did hit it once with a hammer, and that popped it through because the takedown or the slide catch, which just comes out really easily right now, is sprung up against that and actually kind of grabs into the groove right there, and kind of keeps it from sliding out very easily. So once that's out, you can remove that. And then the other pin, which is more narrow but longer, is the top one here. So now that those are out, you can take out the fire control and trigger. So it's going to be the trigger bar, and the block in the back, and then should be able to pull out the top rail as well. All right, pretty straightforward. I called that top rail. That's the locking block. I don't know why I called it top rail. But anyway, that just pops straight up once you have both the pins out. It'll slide out of its grooves there. Very easy. Just get a little leverage on it. I just put the Glock tool under it, and it was just a little bit to pop it loose, and then it came right out. And then once that is out, you can go ahead and lift out the trigger as well as the fire control housing here, and it all comes out as one piece. So with those parts out, that leaves 2 items left. You have the magazine release, which there's just a spring down in there that you can see that you would need to pry back and out of the groove that's in the release lever. You can see it move as I'm pushing on the lever, and you can see the groove in the lever that you would need to get the spring into. I'm not going to bother pulling it out. There's no need to. The other thing is the takedown lock right here. And in order to do that, you just push down on it. There's a spring right there, and you push down and slide it out either side. Just be careful not to lose the spring. So that I'm going to go ahead and do, because I may look into buying an extended one for this firearm. So I'm going to take that out real quick, but need both hands to do it. All right, and here is the takedown lock removed. Like I said, I just pushed down on the spring a little bit with the Glock tool and was able to slide it outside. Orientation, you'll see it has kind of a hooked lip on it that goes towards the back of the firearm, so just keep in mind for future reference. So now that that is all removed from the frame, I'm going to go ahead and start taking apart the trigger assembly. All right, I had to grab a stand just so it'd be a little bit easier to do this, but to take apart this trigger assembly, you just kind of have to manipulate the cruciform out of the housing, and basically you're going to just angle it that way. It'll start to loosen up and you'll walk it over the lip here, and then at the right angle it'll all pop right out. One thing I do want to say is be very careful of the spring here. You don't want to overstretch it because it is obviously connected here and then connected to the front of the cruciform. So go ahead, you'll hear a little pop when it releases and it clears. You'll see the spring is hooked on the front there, and you can just carefully disconnect the cruciform from the spring, walk it off like so. If you have a little pair of pliers, it might make it a little easier just because it is a tight fit on there, which I might have to do that. So give me a second and grab the pliers and I will pop it off. All right, sorry about that. So yeah, I was able to pop it off, but you can see the gap that you have to work with on that spring is not very big. But again, be careful not to overextend or manipulate or stretch the spring. So I'm going to leave that attached on here for now, just to show how it kind of goes in there, and it's just going to fold back forward with the cruciform when everything's back in place. And then here is the cruciform. So that being said, the whole reason I'm taking all this apart is if you look at the cruciform you'll be able to feel it. It's got a slight rough texture to it. A lot of the metal parts do. They have either a coating or just some sort of oil, or it's just the way they're actually made. My big goal here is I want to go through everything, polish it up, with a little bit of flitz, clean it up just for a much better, smoother operation. Similar to what I've done on some of my other videos with other firearms. So I will go ahead, when the time comes, and this will be in a follow-up video, I'll pull out, the ejector and the connector / disconnector from the housing. I'm going to go ahead and polish everything and then go through reassembling the lower assembly. One thing, as I mentioned earlier, I did go ahead and order an extended slide lock. I could not find a Glock one. I don't think Glock makes factory ones, so I did find one from an aftermarket company that came highly recommended. So I will walk through that when the part does arrive. But that being said, I am going to end the video here. So if you like what you're seeing, you want to follow along, please hit like, please hit subscribe, please hit the notification bell. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I do review them. I will reply. I do have a second channel devoted to automotive stuff. If that's something that interests you, there is a link to the description of this video, or in the description of this video. Please check it out. That being said, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.